Thanks for staying with us. So today we're talking about men, their concerns, and the fact that many of them also have asked your view, ladies, to talk to our female counterparts who are very violent, verbally, emotionally. Emotionally mean that you use food, you use sex and all that to deny your spouse, and just because you feel that you have some kind of leverage. And that's why, and the reason where I want this conversation to go is because sometimes when you say, when you remember say, as in, let's do things the way our parents used to do them so that they look the way they are. Now, it doesn't mean that I totally agree with that statement, but the truth is that there are traditional ways marriages had been structured. For a modern woman, it is somewhat demeaning, it is somewhat discriminatory just because of certain things. And as we are living those realities, we're seeing that maybe this is why they said woman submit. Maybe this is why they said man is the head of the family. Maybe this is why they said God, there was an allocation of the responsibilities such that there won't be confusion, because when roles changes, sometimes one spouse feels empowered over the other, and then you can see stuff like this. I'm just saying, just for a conversation's sake. So today that a lot of women are empowered enough to stand up and beat up their spouse, who's supposed to be the head of the family or leader of the home. Now, is it because of society, our thinking that has caused this? Or women have always been beating up their husbands in the past, and we didn't know about it?
Yeah, I think that women have always beaten up their husbands in the past.
Just it, about
it wasn't. It's a taboo, so
it's not amplified.
Yes, nobody wants to talk about it. And women, men will feel embarrassed to share, but a woman will be quick to talk about the fact that I'm being beaten, because everybody would rally around them. I think both parties, when it happens, it is bad. So, but since I'm focusing on men being beaten, for you to beat a man, for you to even stand up and raise your hand against an adult, there must be something wrong. Women are soft human beings. We're meant to be, soft, nurturing. You take care of your baby. You do, like, we are feminine, and feminism is sort of, being feminine means that you have this softer personality, while the man is masculine, and they define it more as being, stronger and aggressive. So for a woman to get into that space where she's aggressive, she's pouncing on a man, punching a man, something is wrong. Like there's a knot loose somewhere. Either there's a past trauma, the person, probably sometime in her life, she has seen her mom being beaten back to back, and so she grew up with the idea of, before you raise hand, I will punch you. That's a school of thought. Or she herself was beaten or bullied as a child, and she developed coping mechanism and became very aggressive. And so the man is on the receiving end of an aggressive woman. That is not the norm. That's not the way it's meant to be. And there are few, but when we see them, we should understand that these people need hospital, Yaba left. They should talk to a psychologist, therapy to unpack why they are behaving out of what I feel should be character. So if we try to rationalize it, it's not normal. It's not normal for a human being to be like that. So I cannot explain how a man should deal with it beyond take her to the hospital. It's like when you see a human being running temperature, you don't say, let me find how I'll deal with this thing. I will take her to the hospital where she will get treated. Yeah. But the verbal abuse, for me, is very, very key. We talk about it, because the physical abuse, you can see the damage. The verbal abuse is you're breaking this human being. Many men suffer verbal abuse. They are being demeaned in their house, and we should discuss it even much more.
In front of their children, in front of their parents, in front of their loved ones. Let me take this call. Dozier is calling from Ipaja. Good morning, Dozier. Hello, Dozier. Dozier, are you there? You see, for the physical abuse, you can actually hide it. You can say, oh, I fell. But that emotional, verbal abuse cuts deep. And the problem is that it breaks a man. Because even though, yes, we want men to see that women see women as equal partners, but there's still that part of a man that makes him the leader in many ways. So when you break him to that point, how then does a man survive the situation where he's verbally abused?
I also think that we need to tell people to think about their children, because this man in the video was talking about the fact that even if you want to beat me, don't beat me in front of my children. That was his statement. Even if you want to insult your husband for what he did, don't insult him in front of, because you are now causing generational trauma, because what children see most likely they would repeat. And so they would almost do the same thing without knowing. I've watched video and I've heard people say things. And I'm like, where did this person grow up? Because I did not grow up hearing things like that. It's not even normal in my own household to hear things like that. So when I see people going through that, I'm like, what environment did they grow up in? What did they hear? What did they see growing up? Because you will only do what you see. I will not speak Chinese, no matter how smart I am, because I did not grow up in a place where they speak Chinese. I would only do what I'm saying.
Can I just say something? Sorry, Nima. We are...
Why can I pause just for a second? Is it possible? I have a call I've been holding for you. Good morning, Emeka.
Yeah, good.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
The ladies of your view.
Thank you, sir.
Good to be here. My name is Emeka from Kano. I'm really happy that this topic is being discussed, because a lot of times when we talk about men also going through gender-based violence, the third part why men don't even report is that people say, waiting in do the woman. Don't provoke the woman before it beats. And the truth is, I always tell people, why should we say waiting man do woman will make and provoke beat the man? Just as we always discourage policemen or security agents when people go to report, women go to report cases of rape, and they say, madam, now waiting you wear, now make the man rape you, or why you go the man house for night. Rape is bad. So same thing as beating. A lot of men go through a lot of gender-based violence, and I'm happy, Auntie Morayo, you mentioned this, that it's not even about the physical. I can't tell you how many times I've visited my friends that their wives are abusing them, not regarding that you know your husband has a visitor in the house. A stranger is in your house. Even if your husband offended you, whatever it was, you just run down the man. A pastor friend confided in me how sometimes when he wants to go to the other room, his wife of over 12 years, this is not just a newly wedded, will insult the hell out of him. So the funny thing here, as someone who is an activist, when we want to say, women, please, don't treat men like this, just as we also tell men, don't beat women. They don't want to own up. That is just the basic truth. They will look for one thing and say it is why we are doing this. And I say, madam, we've always stood our ground, and we tell men, on no account should you beat your wife, or as in no account. So why can't we also take ownership and let the women say, do you know how many times, Auntie Morayo, women have slapped men and get away with it, and they feel they've won awards. And I ask these women, this man not the human being. Imagine when he retaliates now, nobody will see the side that you first slapped him. And this bruises the ego of the men. Men suffer a lot. I've seen instances where men will pay school fees. The woman will come in front of the children and be telling the children, now me pay your school fees, though. Your papa not do anything. I heard when you talked about empowerment. I have lived with successful women. God has blessed me with rich aunties, rich stepmothers and everything. I can tell you, Morayo and ladies of you.
Emeka. Oh, we lost us.
In the world, my auntie will pay the children's school fees. Sometimes my auntie's husband will not have money to pay house rent. None of the children will know. It's we that enter the house we know. She bought her husband a new car and told the children, go and congratulate your father. Daddy just bought a new car. The wealthiest women are even the most humble that we know. And so, last thing I will say before I round up, can we begin to have more female models, role models, to pass on mentorship to younger girls? Because the rate at which some of these girls are going.
Okay.
Somebody just has.
Thank you very much. Emeka, let me let you go at this point. Nima,
I was about to say something.
Yes.
So I was about to say, I hate that as we're discussing this topic, we are kind of making excuses for these women. I watched the video where the guy was complaining to the pastor, the children were there, the man was trying to read something, the children didn't even help him, meaning they have lost all respect for him. The woman was like this. That woman, if I had the power, I would jail her. Straight. She deserves it, because when a man does it, we always say, he has to go to jail. Why is that woman still free? There was no reason, because she wasn't even remorseful. Watch the video. She was not remorseful. She was, in fact, when we get home, the look was, when we get home, I will beat you another beating.
I will deal with you.
So excuse me, that kind of person, to me, jail. Take her to court, put her in jail. The same way you will do a man. Give them the same treatment you will give the man. Don't make excuses because it's our gender. Okay. You keep on making excuses and keep on saying she has mental problem. The men too have mental problem that beats women.
Yeah.
So let all of them go and spend time in jail. In fact, put all of them inside the same cell so they can beat themselves.
Thank you, Auntie Annie, for saying this. So that I'll just go and say the second thing I was planning, because I was going to just first of all shout like this. But I was sitting at home the other day and my husband did something. I was like, this marriage thing, people that do 40 years, 50 years inside, they are patient. Because really, everybody provokes everybody. We're sparking off each other. That's the truth, really. And there's a way you must raise female or male. So we are focused as a society on raising female, preparing our girls for abusive men, telling the girls to be empowered so that if you do, you will walk away. Telling the girls to my father used to tell us to do karate and buy us a pen knife when there was rape and all of that. Prepare yourself, carry your, you know. But are we preparing our boys? And that I saw, thankfully, a story my grandfather shared of an uncle of mine whose wife was abusive. Once it happens in my family, you will see my aunties coming and separate their brother immediately. He won't come back home to an abusive woman. That's the way it's done. So you cannot exist in that circumstance and still be trying to be a man. That's the sad part of this case. To the extent that the children have, you know, because you've not been taught to stand up for yourself. As that man is, what do you mean? Your wife has reduced you to a woman. Now the children have reduced you to their mates. You know, it was so he wasn't taught how to a man. I was talking to that case I shared earlier, and he was like, I don't have money to rent a place. I said, you don't have any friends to sleep in the house. You can't live there. You cannot be in that situation and you be counting costs. Just the way women used to strategize and save to live. You have to live.
Love yourself enough to
love yourself enough to live. And that's the first point.
But
if she misses you,
easy to live because they also love their children.
No. Yes. There's nothing that is uneasy to live. For men particularly, because if you are not the one nurturing at the time, you know, you they breastfeed at the time, you can't exist. And some women postpartum depression is that they are so aggressive, even their child is at risk. So you must live when you need to live. It must be a loving, enabling environment for you to be there. Not be saying you go there. Your kids now find it okay.
But where can men find help? Where can they find support?
It will start somewhere. Men's help is even easy because you're not, when you leave, you don't have to carry your baggage.
It's not.
When women, hold on, Tope, I'm coming somewhere. When women leave, they have to carry their baggage. When those circumstances I saw growing up happened, my uncles just came back to the village. My grandfather would marry you a new wife who will pamper you silly. You will not remember your pain. And I remember that my uncle living in the city and then how he lived and passed in the village. He started a small life where everything they could plan together. If your kids lose respect for you and you're a man, it's better to quickly catch up and start a family. And now because trendy to yes, start a new family. No, that's the point. Right. A woman must, you must also create that enable. You can't be that video YK shows. Imagine that video.
That thing you said.
Go and start a new family.
Because this thing she said is really important.
It's controversial.
No matter how whatever happens between you and your spouse, you should never be at the position to make your children to respect their father, because it is a really, really bad omen for children to have no regard for their father. It's really
but we know obviously that any woman that is already beating and insulting and cursing the man is not thinking straight. So that person is not thinking of the impact on the children. She's just venting. And I beg to disagree with Nima concerning the fact that men have it easy. You see, any man that is already being bullied, beaten by his wife and insulted by his wife will most likely be bullied again by men. YouTube comments is saying that one is not a man. That's a simp. That's what they'll tell you. So the man that is being bullied would go and complain that I just got beaten by my wife. And what would they say? Like they would insult him. Men will get insulted for being beaten. They will get insulted and you are complaining. Go back home and deck her. That's what they will say. So we are not really welcoming. If a woman cries out and say, they beat me, everybody will say, come and collect hug. But they say, the man up. You are not a man. If you are a man, it will not
there are
happen.
ways to
so
man
when
up.
we say that
they have to tell a man the truth. Listen.
Hold on, Nima. Let me explain it. So we are not really providing support for the men. It took women a long time to get to this point where they hug a woman to say leave the marriage too. Women for many years were told to go back home. They will tell the woman to go back home and manage the relationship. But we got to a point in time when women say they are being beaten, they receive a hug and they are told go into a shelter. But the men are told to man up. It's not every man that can find it easy to man up. Like we said earlier, some men are feminine. They are soft men.
More reason why
soft men should be loved.
Tope, the more reason why.
Yakub has been holding.
Hey.
Can I pause you for a second, please? Yakub, thanks for calling. I want to write it down.
Yeah, thanks for keeping me for long as well. You know, there has increased our tariff for our baby.
He said they've increased tariff. You are keeping
everyone. I don't know, maybe you guys are listening to me. I totally agree with Nima, 101%. You see, for me, this very particular topic, it is so laughable. It is so laughable in the sense that a man is complaining that a woman is beating him. It is the other way around. You see, for me, before you even got to marriage, we always said this to women that they should prepare for the second level. Second level means that have a job. If your husband is doing you something, you take a look. They spend 5 faster to a man. Before you even get to marry, do you have a job? Can you be able to take care of your home? If you are taking care of your home and then your wife is doing this, what tells you not to walk away? Because it is a laughable for this. A man coming out telling us that his wife is beating him. I totally agree with his sentiment because first and foremost, can you not just leave the home and go and take another wife? Because if you left the house, you get all the children that they already bring you down to their level. Imagine that kind of a nonsense. A true man will leave and then you go and rent another house. And
all right, see this thank you, Yakub. I have to go on a break. Thank you, Yakub. You see, when we say take on, now we can say take on another wife, but usually we discuss, why would a man leave his family and go and take another wife? There's a whole different conversation. Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, I'll come to you, Nima. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.